Hey guys, welcome to this session by Intellipaat. In this session, we'll be discussing how to become a DevOps engineer. So we'll also be discussing about various tools DevOps gives us. So we'll be discussing the salary and who is a DevOps engineer, their roles and responsibilities, and also the DevOps tools. So let us get started. So first we'll see why DevOps engineer. So a DevOps engineer must manage the IT infrastructure as per the requirement of supported software code. So what does this mean is, in a software development lifecycle, there are a lot of stages from planning till deploying the code to the production environment. So to do that properly and in a structured way, you need a DevOps engineer. A DevOps engineer basically monitors all of these tasks and creates an automated process which will automatically deploy your software. So he'll build a system, he'll build a life cycle which starts from the planning stage till the development and deployment stage. So a DevOps engineer is required to implement the DevOps principles in a company. So DevOps is not a technology, guys. It is a set of principles, or it is a methodology which you can use, and you can use various tools and services, and you can create a complete DevOps lifecycle which will benefit your business. Moving on, now we are going to discuss the DevOps engineer salary. So pay by experience level for development operations engineer. So basically, a DevOps engineer is a person who is in between development team and the operations team. So the development team is the team which develops the code, and the operations team is the one who deploy that code into the production environment. So there was a gap in between them. So DevOps engineers are the people who is the bridge between the development and the operations team, so that they can create a complete business life cycle. So they can build software from planning stage, then developing it, and then testing it, and then building it, and also deploying it. So now let us discuss the salary. So if you have less than 1 year experience, you might get up to 3.63 lakhs or 363k in Indian rupees. And with 1 to 4 years of experience, you can get up to 5.73 lakhs per annum. And then with 5 to 9 years of experience, you can go up to 10 million rupees, and not 10 million, it's basically 1 million, that is 10 lakh rupees. And with 10 to 19 years of experience, more than 10 years of experience, you can get up to 2 million, that is 20 lakhs per annum. So this was provided by payscale.com. So moving on, let us see the average salary of a DevOps engineer in various locations or countries. So first, in the United States, you get $100,000 per annum. And then in India, the average salary is 569,000 INR every year. And then in the UK, it is 62,500 euros or pounds per annum. So moving on, now let us see the popular employer salaries for DevOps engineer. So TCS, Accenture, Amazon, Wipro, Oracle Corporation, then Infosys and IBM are very huge organizations all over the world. So let us see TCS first. TCS provides you a 6.27k. This is the average salary. And then Accenture Technology Solutions provides 5.15 lakhs. And moving on, you can see Amazon provides 1 million, that is 10 lakh per annum. And then Wipro provides 6, Accenture provides 6.5, Oracle provides 10, and Infosys and IBM provide the same 6.5 and 9 lakhs per annum. So moving on, now we are going to see the steps to become a DevOps engineer. So the first step you'll have to take is you'll have to check what are the common skills which are for DevOps engineers. So you'll have to go through multiple job descriptions and check what does the employer need from us. So to understand that, you'll have to go through job descriptions and find out the most common skills which are asked from the employer. So now let us discuss them. I have chosen 3 different job descriptions. We are going to discuss the common tools and the common skills which the employers ask from us. So the first one is from Unilever, and it is for a DevOps engineer post, and you should have at least 5+ years of experience. So basically they need shell scripting and also Python. So they need you to know some programming language. Even though programming language is not part of a DevOps engineer, but learning how a programming language works and that programming language will help you very much in DevOps engineering. And then comes automation. You will need to know either Ansible, Chef or Puppet as per this company, and then Jenkins 2.0, and then Java, and then Docker and Kubernetes for containerization and also orchestration. And then you also might need to know about operating systems, virtual machines, containers, proxy and engines. Moving on. So this role is from SAP. This role is for SAP and they need a 4+ year experience DevOps engineer. So they're asking for the latest technologies, that is, as I told you, containerization and orchestration tools. They're asking for Kubernetes and containers. And then for monitoring tools, they want us to learn Nagios, Grafana, Prometheus, and these are some various examples for monitoring tools. And then basic knowledge of virtualization, that is creating virtual machines on cloud-based systems and also network. So they're asking us to know cloud technologies like OpenStack, GCP, Azure also. And then configuration management tools or automation tools, which are Chef and Ansible. And these are asked by SAP, and these are some common tools which you will have to learn if you want to become a DevOps engineer. And then this is for a DevOps engineer, mainly on continuous integration and continuous development or deployment, that is CI/CD. So this particular role needs 7+ years of experience. And then they're asking us to have a good knowledge in cloud services, that is AWS, Azure, GCP and other forms of cloud services. And then they're asking us to be strong in CI/CD and also tools like Git, Bitbucket, TeamCity, Artifactory and Jira. So basically Git and Bitbucket are version control tools. TeamCity is used for deployment purposes. Artifactory is used to store artifacts in binary files. And then they're also asking us to learn about Git, Atlassian, Jira, Confluence, Bitbucket. So Atlassian tools, Jira, Confluence and Bitbucket are Atlassian tools. So if your company is using Atlassian environment or Atlassian ecosystem, you might have to learn Jira, Confluence and Bitbucket. And then they're asking us to learn Docker and Kubernetes. As I told you, they are containerization services. And also you'll have to learn Python, Shell. So you'll have to learn shell scripting basically if you want to become a DevOps engineer. That is very helpful. And then configuration management tools. So configuration management in the sense Puppet and Ansible. So as I already told you, we saw Puppet, Ansible and Chef in all those 3 job descriptions. So these tools are very much important if you want to become a DevOps engineer. Moving on, now I've summarized the common tools which you will have to learn if you want to become a DevOps engineer. So the first thing is automation tools. Why? Because DevOps engineers' main objective is to automate the software building process, that is the software development process. So you'll have to learn a lot of automation tools like Puppet, Chef, Ansible and Jenkins. So these all automate the software development process. And then comes CI/CD tools. So CI is continuous integration and CD is continuous deployment. So under CI/CD tools comes Jenkins, TeamCity, Excel Deploy and various services. And then comes testing tools. So when you write a code, you will have to check that code for readability, bugs. So also it might have warnings and loopholes and vulnerabilities which hackers can use against us. So basically when you create a code and try to launch it to a production server, you will have to know and learn testing tools like Selenium so that you can check the bugs before even deploying those code into the production environment. And then comes cloud services, because most of the companies are shifting to cloud-based systems right now. Many companies are shifting to AWS, Azure, GCP, Ali Cloud. There are a lot of clouds, even IBM Cloud. So you should learn the cloud service so you might be trying for a particular company and you'll have to learn the cloud service which is used by that company. But learning AWS, Azure and GCP is very helpful because these are the world's most top 3 cloud services and they are used by a lot of firms and organizations. And then a programming language. So programming language is helpful if you do anything. Programming language is useful for any role you take up in the technical field. And for a DevOps engineer, as he's creating a complete life cycle for software development, so learning a programming language will give that person better understanding of how software works. So these are the 5 different tools or 5 different summarized tools which you will have to learn to become a DevOps engineer. And in this session we'll also be seeing few tools like for a few automation, CI/CD testing and cloud service tools. We'll be looking at them right now. So also skills that affect DevOps engineer salaries. So these are the skills which might include, so these services might include your salary, so they might increase your salaries. So to become a DevOps engineer, learning a DevOps course or learning from somewhere, learning all the DevOps tools is very helpful. If you think your experience in your last company to move to a DevOps field is enough, then you might get a 6% less salary. But if you have a DevOps certified course, if you have a DevOps certification, then that might help you. And then Python, as I told you, a lot of scripts are written in Python, and learning how a language works is very important. And then comes cloud computing, Amazon Web Services. So Amazon Web Service is a cloud computing service. So learning cloud computing will help you because most of the companies' architectures and infrastructure is on cloud right now. And then shell scripting, as I told you, shell scripting is one of the important concepts because for creating configuration and managing that configuration, you will need to know shell scripting. And then comes Jenkins. Jenkins is one of the most popular tools for DevOps tools. It is used for CI/CD, CI. So learning Jenkins would be very helpful because Jenkins is an open source tool and it is used by a lot of companies. And moving on, now we are going to look at various DevOps tools. So what we are going to do is we are going to learn tools like Jenkins, Nagios, Docker, Kubernetes, and Git, Puppet, and Ansible. Let us look at them one by one. So first is continuous integration, that is Jenkins. So Jenkins is an open source automation server which is written in Java. Jenkins helps to automate the non-human part of the software development process with continuous integration and facilitating technical aspects of continuous delivery. So now let me explain it to you simpler. So Jenkins is basically a tool which automates the integration process. So you might have your source code in a Git bucket. So that Git bucket can be anywhere in the world. So you can connect that to Jenkins so that whenever a change is made in your Git bucket, Jenkins will automatically see that as a trigger and it will start a build process. So what Jenkins will do, it will build your code for you, it will test your code for you, and it will give the artifacts. That is, for example, if you are building a Java code, it will give the jar file out. So Jenkins does this automatically. It is continuous integration and it does it for you free. And then continuous deployment. For continuous deployment, you can use Docker, Puppet, and Ansible. So virtualization and containerization, you can use Docker. For configuration management, you can use Puppet and Ansible. Now coming to Docker. What Docker does for you is it creates hosts which are isolated in the same server. For example, you might have 4 different Python applications which you want to launch on the same server, but all of those Python applications have a different version. But you cannot launch different versions of a Python application on the same server because Python does not allow you to install multiple versions of it on a same server. So for that, what you can do is you can create multiple Docker containers which basically isolate themselves from each other so that they do not see what is inside each of those containers. So each of those containers will have their own softwares, their own software libraries, and also configuration. So to be simple, Docker virtualizes the operating system and not the hardware components, so that there is no connection between one Docker container and another Docker container which are on the same server. So using this, now you can launch 4 different Python applications on the same server even if they have different versions, because your particular version will be limited to one particular Docker container. It won't be able to, another Docker container will not be able to take that particular Python version. And then coming to Puppet and Ansible. So configuration management means you might have a master server and there are many client servers. So what you can do is you can install Puppet agent or the Ansible agent in all of those client servers, and you can also have Puppet and Ansible installed in the master server. So what happens is every time there is a change in your code, when it is built and tested and that particular binary files are pushed for deployment, so what happens is whenever there is a change in configuration, Puppet will enable that, so that now when clients are suspecting there is a change in configuration, they send a request to the master, and when there is a change, master will send back the configuration files for that particular change. So now all the clients and servers will have access to master, and they'll get the configuration files, and this will happen one by one in each server, so that the website or your application doesn't go down. Moving on, continuous testing. So you'll have to do testing, as I told you. In Jenkins, you can do testing, but to do that testing, you need a tool. So Selenium is a portable software testing framework which you can use for testing web applications. It is open source and it can be used to automate tests on web browsers. So basically you can code, and that code can be used to automate the test. So whenever that code is run by Jenkins, a web browser will be opened, and the URL which you provided in the code will be opened, and also the tasks you have mentioned or coded will be happening automatically. You don't need to do anything, and Selenium takes care of all that. And that is what called as continuous testing, and continuous testing is integrated with continuous integration, that you can do continuous testing inside of Jenkins. And then continuous monitoring. So continuous monitoring is very important for any software application you use, because monitoring provides you with telemetry, that is metric data. With that data, you can make your services and application better. For example, you might have 4 different features in your website, and one feature might not be used properly at all. So other 3 features are getting enough traffic, but that one particular feature is not getting enough traffic. So what you can do, if you can see if that feature is helping or providing value to your customers, if it doesn't provide value, you can remove it, or you can see why it is not providing value and make changes and improve your particular feature. So this is why Nagios is used, and Nagios is an open source DevOps tool, and it is used to monitor systems, networks, and infrastructures. So Nagios provides you network monitoring, application monitoring, and also infrastructure monitoring. It has 3 different services. And you can see it also offers monitoring and alerting services for any configurable event. So you can set up alerting services, that is whenever there's the change made or when your site goes down, it alerts you, and you can make the changes and you can make your site up and running immediately. Moving on. So this is the basic DevOps architecture. So you can see first a developer. So what developer does is he do some changes in the local environment. After doing those changes, he uploads that code to GitHub. So basically what upload means, there will be the old source code in GitHub. So what this developer does is he changes the content, and if he's fine with it, if he tests the code locally and if it is running properly, he pushes that code into GitHub. After pushing that code into GitHub saves the latest source code, and Jenkins now checks whether there are changes made in GitHub. So if there are changes made in GitHub, it automatically invokes Jenkins, and Jenkins will run its build tool. So when Jenkins builds the source code, after building the source code, it will also test the code using the help of Selenium, because whenever Jenkins builds something, that build will trigger the Selenium testing server. So you have a testing server over here, and whenever Jenkins is invoked as a CI tool, it automatically invokes continuous testing after the software is built. For example, when you are building a Java file using Maven on Jenkins, it provides you a ware file, so you can use that ware file and test that using Selenium on your testing server. But whenever there is a change here, how will the testing server detect that? For that, you use Puppet and Ansible. So Puppet and Ansible detects the configuration changes in Jenkins, and it provides the new configuration to the testing server, and the testing server involves that configurations files within it, and after that it takes out the built files from Jenkins and it uses to test it over here. And if the test succeeds, it sends back to Jenkins, and Jenkins pushes that to the deployment server, that is the production server. After deploying that, your website will be now up and running and the changes will be made. After doing that, you can connect your production server to a monitoring tool. In our case, it is Nagios. When you connect it to a monitoring tool, so basically what happens, Whatever actions are happening on your production server or on your websites will be noted, and that metric data will be gathered by Nagios. When it gets gathered by Nagios, it basically is feedback. So the developer can now view what is going on in his application or on his web server, that is the production server. So he'll be looking at that and he'll be checking which are the features which are not used properly, or where warnings occur, and if there are any loopholes, if there is any delay and to use some services, if the web server is very slow or not, if the production server is able to handle that incoming traffic. If it is, it provides all those metric data, and developer looks at that, and now he'll gather some data and he'll check where to make changes, what new code can he install. So after looking at that, what he does now, he changes that code and again pushes it to GitHub, and all the other processes happen automatically. So basically this is a complete life cycle, and this continues every time there is a change in code. And even this, whenever the developer changes code, basically what he gets back in return is feedback, that is monitoring metric data. So moving on, let me explain to you how you can get started with DevOps. So Intellipaat provides a Cloud and DevOps Architect Master's course, and it is in association with IBM. So you can check over here. You can learn AWS, Microsoft Azure, DevOps, Python, Google Cloud, and also all of these self-paced training courses. So let me explain to you from the website. Let me take you to the website. So I'm going to show you the course and what you will be taught from the course, and how you can learn this course and get certified and become a DevOps engineer. So this is the course, and the course is of 147 hours length, and you get all these key features. That is an instructor-led training. Also, it provides you self-paced training which you can do by yourself. It has a lot of exercise and projects, and also lifetime access, and it also helps you get certified, and we also provide job assistance. So also guys, who are watching this particular live session right now, you can use the code YouTube30 and you can get a 30% discount in this particular course immediately. So guys, if you like this session, leave a comment below, and if you have any queries, please ask it below and we'll explain it to you. Also guys, check this out, DevOps Architect. So basically, if you want to become a DevOps architect and build a complete software development lifecycle, so you can check out this DevOps Architect Masters. And as I told again, so you can use YouTube 30 right now to get a 30% discount on this course also, and it is in association with IBM. You get 7 different courses, 15 different projects which you can build, and it is a total of 105 hours. So you'll be learning DevOps, you'll be learning AWS. So in DevOps, you'll be learning various DevOps tools, which I told you. You'll be even learning more DevOps tools. You'll be learning Docker, Git, you'll be learning Kubernetes, you'll be learning Selenium, and all other services which require you to become a DevOps engineer. And then AWS is, you'll be learning AWS, you'll be learning Jenkins, Docker, Kubernetes, Git, and GitHub. So AWS is the cloud service, which is the #1 cloud service in the world, and you can learn AWS and implement all these tools and create a complete DevOps lifecycle on AWS. And also you are provided with Python, so that you improve your skills in Python and become a complete DevOps engineer. So guys, again, I'm telling it to you, you can use the code YouTube30 and get a 30% off in this particular course. And thank you for attending my session, and thank you.